Welcome, guys, back to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and today we are welcome with Kamikaze.
Thank you
How
for
we,
having me, buddy.
of course, I know we talked a little bit off air, but how we doing? How's life treating you?
Oh, well, as you can see, it's beautiful sunny here in my hometown in Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. Enjoying the heat, enjoying the sunshine. So glad winter's over and done with. Yeah, man, life is good. Staying busy.
Uh, hey, aren't we all? Winter, I can tell you as somebody who does snow removal here in the
Oh,
Chicago area, it sucks.
right.
So I understand. Thank God it's springtime.
Amen.
Uh, Before we dive into your wrestling career, almost 20 years in the business, would you like to shout out your social medias and maybe possible upcoming events? Just let the fans know where they can catch you next.
Absolutely. Social medias, it's all the same. Instagram, YouTube, and a Facebook fan page. It's all the same. It's Kazi CMF 4ZE CMF, the number four life. That's my YouTube, my Instagram, and a Facebook fan page. Instagram, I'm on there a lot. And if you message me, I will gladly reply back. I'm pretty good for talking with people and stuff like that. Events coming up this Friday in Calgary, Alberta, Cowtown, Real Canadian Wrestling's 22nd anniversary show. I'm defending my British Commonwealth title against Bobby Sharp in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Frankie Kazarian will also be on the event. And then the next night in Edmonton, once again for RCW, Real Canadian Wrestling, 22 anniversary show. I'll be in action as well in E-Town, Edmonton, Alberta as well.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like, and from the looks of it, you're a very busy man.
Yes.
I noticed one thing about from doing research is it looks like a lot of Canadian promotions run back to back shows. Like they'll do night after night after night after night. Is that
Yeah.
normal?
Yeah, there's one promotion I work for in particular called Canadian Wrestling's Elite. They're one of the only touring companies in Canada. And I'm
Okay.
actually at the end of middle of May, May 22nd to June 5th. It's like a 15-day tour, night after night after night. So we'll be all over Canada. It's my bread and butter, man. It's how I'm making a living. I'm blessed to be able to be a part of it. But yeah, it's out here in Canada, man. It's long drives, and if you're lucky, you get back-to-back shows, events.
And working with a promotion like that, is that something that makes it stay more stable? Like having a 15-day run?
Yes, 100, man. That's how like I said, my bread and butter with the merchandise sales and my payoffs combined after 15 dates. That's how I'm paying the bills and getting by, man, as a little old independent wrestler. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful for the work. I'm thankful for the fans that support us. Thankful for the opportunities. Just riding the wave, buddy.
How often do you get to hit those loops?
So Canadian Wrestling's Elite runs a tour every 2 months. They do a Western loop, and it's usually anywhere from 12 to 15, 17 days in a row. And then they'll do an Eastern loop. They do Ontario, and that is usually anywhere from 7 to 9 dates. So I fill up my schedule with those tours every 2 months. It usually goes as cycles. And then in between, I take like local bookings and just bookings anywhere else I can just to fill in the gaps, basically. And it's helped me make a living, thankfully.
Definitely. And currently you hold three championships, three different promotions.
Correct.
What's that like? What's that weight like to be able to be, for maybe lack of better words, the man in three different promotions?
Well, I count my blessings, man, and nothing lasts forever either. So I ride the wave. I'm thankful for it, the opportunity. It's a feather in the cap when the promotion puts a championship on you. They have the
Yes.
confidence in you to put you on the poster and carry the company, so to speak. Yeah, man, it's been a roller coaster ride, to be honest. The weight literally makes that gear bag, the zippers are ready to bust. It's a lot heavier lugging around. It's you know, not all sunshine and rainbows, I guess, being the champ in multiple promotions, but I'm thankful for it, and I'm running with the ball. They gave me the ball, and I'm running with it. I'm just trying to hit home runs, buddy. It's been good.
Definitely. Okay. Seeing as how we are the I Love Wrestling podcast, usually I start off with this question, but deep down we're all fans. So with
Yeah.
that said, when did you find professional wrestling, and what about it made you fall in love with it?
Oh man, my father, Papa Kazi, got me into it. I remember watching my first real memories was like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre at WrestleMania 3. And yeah, just being captivated by Hulk Hogan, just this larger than life, you know, charisma, persona, the whole look of him. Uh, Big fan of the Hulkster, man. And then he got into movies and Hollywood and just transcended into that, just liked him even more. Then I kind of fell out of it for a while. And then I got back into it in the Attitude Era. My parents were divorced, and I go to my dad's, and he'd be watching Monday Night Raw. And my sister and I just started watching Monday Night Raw in 1998, seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mick Foley, The Rock, Jeff Hardy. These guys just kind of took me on another level. And that's when I really decided this is what I want to do. I seen Jeff Hardy, Mick Foley was a huge influence. And then when I seen Rob Van Dam, when ECW made it to Canada in 1999, Rob Van Dam changed my life. And 1998, 99 is when I decided I wanted to be a professional wrestler.
Okay. What exactly, going back to that Rob Van Dam moment, what exactly about it or him like
Yeah.
really changed how you viewed it and maybe got you thinking about doing it?
Well, I mean, when he hit the scene for a while before that, but when I first seen him, with the exception of Jeff Hardy, but even RVD was like almost on another level from Jeff, just athletic wise and innovation. They're both innovative, don't make it wrong, but just he was just like the total package of just like an athletic freak of nature, just a force of an athlete. He'd be gorilla pressing guys over his head, drop him behind him, then do like a standing moonsault. And like, I just, you never seen anything like that at that time in 99, 2000. Like, it was revolutionary and game changing for sure. He won me over. Just seeing him do the splits, the flexibility. I wanted to just like him. And actually, I wish I would have 12 years old when I seen him. And I started stretching every day at that point. And I still do to this day. I can't stress stretching enough, but I can do the splits. I was just trying to emulate Rob Van Dam. I wanted to be like this guy, just an athlete, a super athlete. And yeah, man, it's just, he blew my mind. He was just on another level compared to other guys at that time.
How cool is it still seeing guys like Jeff Hardy and Van Dam still doing it today?
Oh, it's amazing, dude. I mean, you just can't help but smile when you see it. You know, these are like your idols and guys you looked up to and influenced you. And it really goes to show, like, if you're smart and you take care of yourself, and you only got one body, but I mean that's why stretching is so important, and that's why Van Dam. I just seen recently he's doing like a GCW event, and he's still doing the rolling thunder and jumping up like a cat to the top rope. It's because he stretches, man. It's because he takes care of his body. You know, we only got one body. And this is rough enough on your body as it is wrestling, but you got to be smart, lift the weights, and eat healthy and stretch, and you can get some longevity out of yourself. It's tested and proven by Rob Van Dam himself. So
Definitely.
it's cool to see.
So, what if there is one? Like, is there a moment that made that like clicked and it was like, okay, now I'm gonna go and do this. Now I'm gonna decide to start training.
Right. Trying to think back. I think just like the craze of the Attitude Era and how hot everything was. I mean, like you'd watch Monday Night Raw and come in Tuesday into junior high, high school, and that's what everybody was talking about, the teachers included, of like what happened on Raw. And then when ECW hit the scene, got their TV deal on TNN, everyone's talking about that and all the crazy stuff with the tables and the violence. Um, I think just in the peak of it all, just wrestling was so hot and popular. I was like, yeah, like I want to do this, you know, and just seeing like smaller guys too, like Taka Michinoku, S.A. Rios, Rob Van Dam, Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys, smaller statured wrestlers, the high flyers. I was like, I want to be like these guys. I want to do this, you know? And that's kind of how it snowballed. We got a trampoline when I was a kid and got into the backyard wrestling, turned the trampoline into a wrestling ring, called it the Trampo Ring. Actually, I have clips on YouTube of me wrestling in my backyard. It's how I got my start, man. I was just putting things in slow motion and studying how they execute things. And that's kind of how I got my feet wet, kind of.
Okay. Do you have a favorite backyard match?
Oh, geez. I mean, we used to play multiple characters, just like the Hardy Boys when they had their wrestling promotion in their backyard. Ours was called CMF Wrestling, Crazy Mofo Wrestling. I'll send you a link later, a YouTube link. It's some
Okay.
highlights, but I had different characters. I was the vigilante. I was Cam the Man. I was Inferno, Mr. Cameron. But no, there's a lot of fun ones. Honestly, I would put some of these up against some of the indie stuff I see today. The guys that aren't trained very well and stuff like that. Like we worked hard. We took it seriously and practiced. So yeah, there's lots that come to mind. But it was just a golden time, golden memories as a teenager. From age 12 to 17, I did that.
It reminds me whenever I had to have been like 15, 16. My grandmother had a trampoline, and me and my brother, we would go out there and like I would hand write a script of like, hey, we're gonna do this, this,
Yeah.
this, 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 and this, and we'd time it and we'd practice it, and then once we was ready and we figured out it was good, we would invite like he'd invite his friends over. I'd have my dad and whoever
Yes.
watched, and we'd record it, and like there's clips and
Oh,
they're cringy, but like I'm painted up like Sting and it
oh, that's
just
amazing, dude.
we'd make angles out of it. So like I understand. I did a
Yeah,
little bit of
dude.
backyard, not a lot, but a little bit. There's a couple
No,
matches out there.
I appreciate that so much. And to be honest, it's kind of separates the guys that like really wanted it and like couldn't wait until they were 18 and to go train. Like they had to take matters into their own hands. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I can relate to you, brother. Like in high school, I probably could have did better in school, but I was busy like yourself, writing out the events, like booking the events and making
Yep.
storylines. Like, you know what I mean? Like it took up a lot of your time for it was just
It
a
does.
passion, a
A
passion.
hundred percent. And I always felt like it was a healthy passion or a healthy
Yeah,
escape from what's going on in the real world. You know what I mean?
100%, man. I mean, it was using your imagination. It was creating things. It was you're outside in the fresh air, physically, you know, playing and using your imagination. Like I think a lot of kids now are stuck on their phones on the TV, and they don't get any
Definitely.
sunshine. And like we still did that back then. It was good. It's healthy, healthy.
Look, maybe not going to advocate for it too much, but maybe some other kids should go on a trampoline and go through a little fake table or two. It didn't hurt nobody.
No, man, no, you're right, man. It's it toughens you up a little bit.
Exactly. A little
Yeah,
tough external skin.
that's right.
um, you know, Something I found really fascinating, also upon doing research, is the list of trainers that have been
Oh yeah.
associated with your name. I'm going to butcher the first one probably, but is it Chi Chi Cruz?
Yes, he was a Canadian wrestling legend out here in Canada. He was on the same tours like Edge and Christian and Rhino, Don Callis. Unfortunately, he never made it to the big time, but he's very well respected out here. And I was in the right place at the right time. I would start training with Cheech, and he'd been wrestling for 20 years at that point. Been to Europe and Japan, and he worked for a promotion. Forgot the name of the southern promotion, not mid south, the Tennessee promotion out there,
Sure.
USWA, I think it was. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I had WWF tryouts, but they just signed all the WCW talent. That was right when the invasion angle happened, so he never got a fair shake at it. But he was a legend, man. Edge brings him up in his Hall of Fame speech in the
Okay.
unedited version. He puts over Chi Chi Cruz.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to. It's probably out there on the internet somewhere. Maybe I'll have to find that.
Yeah, he's got a Wikipedia as well. Yes.
Okay. And then also along with him, Roddy Piper and
Yeah.
Lance Storm come up. What what was that experience like working, with those guys, training under those guys? What was that like for you?
Well, Lance Storm polished me up. Lance, uh, just nitpicked all the little details, the little bad habits I never knew I had. He really polished me up. I was so grateful to. I remember I didn't have much money, and he cut me a deal to train with him because I already been wrestling for a while, and he gave me a nice deal. And I pretty much gave him the last of my money that I had to my name just to train with him for 3 months out of school. But it was the best decision I ever made, man. He was just so meticulous and down to the little details and the mechanics of things. Like I can't credit him enough for just polishing me. And then Roddy Piper, man, that was crazy experience. We were on like a wrestling reality TV show filmed here in Canada. We got to spend over 3 weeks training with him, and they filmed a lot of it. And I know not a lot of people can say they trained with him, but I myself and a few others were lucky to say that we did. He helped me out with promos the most. I take a lot of pride. I can always get better, but my promos, I really think I'm in a good stride right now, and it's because of Roddy Piper giving me the confidence and the advice and the help to just find myself and who Kamikaze the character is and who I am as a person. Just amping it up to 100. Best characters are just amped up to 100. So I thank Roddy Piper for that.
Okay. And something like that's got to be difficult. I know it is in the States. But getting your name out there, what's it like
Right.
traveling throughout the Canadian indie scene and just trying to build a reputation for yourself and make a name for yourself?
It's a little different in Canada. We have it a little trickier out here, especially in the West, the central and western provinces. There's long drives, man. Long drives. When I went out to the UK and wrestled, a lot of guys were complaining about like a 2, 3, 4 hour drive. And I was like, boys, this is nothing. Like on these tours we do, sometimes it's like a 12-hour drive to get somewhere just for like one show. We put in the miles, man. We're road warriors out here. Out west, central Canada, we're a little geographically castrated, as Johnny Devine once told me. Exposure isn't the best out this way. Out east, it's a little better. Out in Ontario, Toronto, there's a little more exposure. But where I'm from in Western Canada, Central Canada, it's tougher. Yeah, man, I'm just trying my best, hustling. That we were talking how I got a hold of you. Just you got to go to people. They're not coming to you a lot of times. That's how the big leagues work. That's how a lot of things work in this life. So I'm always knocking on doors. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And yeah, man, just social media, trying to hustle and get your face out there, your name out there best you can. It's a grind. It really is.
I agree 100% because that's usually, like I told you off air, is usually that's me. I'm messaging people. So that's why I said I
Right.
was flattered when you messaged me because it's only happened less than a handful amount of times. It's very rare. And like, so I always get, it feels good. I can imagine what it's like to be on the indie scene trying to get your name out. Like, because I hear stories about guys out here just they show up to a show not booked, just hey, I'll help put the ring together. Here's some of
Right.
my stuff, things like
Yeah.
that. So knowing that like the Canadian scene is more spread out, I
Yes.
gotta imagine that that's a much tougher scenario for you guys out there.
It absolutely can be. Yes. I mean, all in all, professional wrestling, it comes down to a couple different things like right place, right time, who you know is a huge one. And then just the stars aligning and things just working out. Thankfully, if you're lucky enough, the stars aligning properly, and being ready. You got to be ready when that opportunity arises. But that's a big one is just right place, right time, and who you know. That's why making contacts in this business is so important. But yeah, it's a grind. It's definitely a grind, man. Just always knocking on doors. And I feel bad for a lot of the newer talent these days because they're doing a lot of wild, crazy stuff, dangerous stuff just to get noticed and get like go viral, so to speak. But I mean, they're wrecking their bodies, man. And a lot of times, I know several guys that have gone viral, but like nothing's really happened after that. You know what I mean? So it's not always just about going viral. It's you got to back it up and have more to bring to the table than just doing some crazy, stupid stunt. You know what I mean? It's a tough game. It's a tough game, but I love it. I'm here for the long haul. That's for sure.
You know, from what I've seen, it's about what happens after you go viral. So like you go
Right.
viral, now what do you have to
Oh,
offer? And then
yes, 100%.
capitalizing it without, hurting yourself or somebody else is
Yeah,
the
it's
is
about
the
backing it
is
up.
the tough part.
Yeah.
What was your experience like doing a show for Ring of Honor back in 2010 like?
That was awesome, man. So I did a Ring of Honor tryout in Winnipeg. The
Okay.
CWE brought in Adam Pierce. He was the booker at the time. And there was going to be a tryout. So I attended the tryout. I impressed Adam Pierce. And he told me later on, he's like, oh, I can picture you working with Christopher Daniels. I can picture you working with the Briscoe brothers. And he's just naming off all these great talents in Ring of Honor at that time in 2010. Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli. And I was like, oh, man, I did it. Like in my mind, I was like, this is my big break. I did it. And the tryout was a couple months later in Toronto, Ontario. And so I'm just excited. I think my foot's in the door. I got this. And then I see on the internet wrestling websites, like a month or two later, it's like Adam Pearce no longer booker for Ring of Honor. And I was like, oh no, because he was like my in. He's the booker, he's the matchmaker, and he was impressed. He liked me, so I thought I had my opportunity. And then it went to Delirious Hunter Thompson, who's the new booker for Ring of Honor. And to Adam Pearce's credit, he was a man of his word. He still let us have the tryout. He told Delirious about us, and did the tryout. It was amazing, man. Like, I remember I did my headstand in the corner turnbuckle for our entrances, and the fans like threw streamers in at the ring at me, and I'd never had that happen before. That was a super cool moment. There was a huge house in Toronto, and they were so appreciative of wrestling. They'd just be clapping for nice technical wrestling. It was a really good tryout match. We did well. It was a tag match, and but I got good feedback at the end of it all. But I wasn't in the plans with Delirious. I was in the plans with Adam Pearce, but the booker changed, and that's just wrestling, man. Like I said, right place, right time. And it seemed like it was so close, but not quite close enough. When the booker changes, you got to be fit into those plans properly. And unfortunately, I wasn't. So it was a great experience. It's something that I can say I did, but unfortunately, nothing came of it after that. So still
You
knocking
know,
on doors.
I hear a lot of times, like with experiences like that, it takes the wind out of your sails. What?
I was still young at the time, so I was still just like go getting. But
Okay.
I'll never forget the sink in my stomach when I seen that internet news site and it's like Adam Pearce no longer the booker. And I was like, oh no, like, because when you're over and the guy believes in you and then he's not in control, he doesn't have that pull and that power anymore. It's like, oh no, what's going to happen? Kind of, it's right place, right time.
Like after something like that, what is it that drives you to like maybe jump back on that horse and keep trying?
Just the love. Look,
Okay.
there's nothing else I could imagine doing, and nor do I want to do anything else. And I do feel in my heart there is a place for me somewhere in the professional wrestling world, somewhere in the wrestling world as a talent, as an agent, as a trainer, but somewhere I can contribute on a larger scale than what I'm doing now. I do feel that in my heart. And it's just a matter of grinding, man, and not giving up. You know, Once you
Yeah.
give up, there's other guys that are right behind you, nipping at the heels. They're going to take those spots. So you just can't give up. Just keep grinding. And it's fun. As soon as it's not fun anymore, then there's a problem. But you got to just let things roll off your back, have fun. And it's just a passion and a love. Been doing this since I was 12 years old, from the backyard to the professionals. And there's nothing else I want to do. And I refuse to stop at this point, as I just feel I can contribute somewhere in the world of professional wrestling.
Definitely. And with that said, it's kind of like why I'm here is, I feel like I can contribute
Yeah,
and I've been told to just enjoy the ride. So like a lot of people
that's
be like,
right.
"What's your goals? What's this?" I have goals, but I'm just more like, let's see where this go. This is fun. Like let's enjoy
Right.
it. Let's talk to you guys. Let's spread your stories. Let's talk about why we love wrestling and just see what happens.
Amen to that, man. It is about just riding the wave and taking it one day at a time, counting your blessings, being thankful for I'm blessed to just do this. Like there's people they can't physically do it or the cards never worked out for them. I'm blessed by the grace of God that I'm a professional wrestler and I got to just never take that for granted, and just use my talents and abilities to the best of my abilities for the greater good and to serve God's purposes and be a good professional wrestler, good entertainer.
Definitely. Something else upon doing research that I noticed is you've been a part of a couple tag teams. The
Yes,
first one that comes to mind is Brothers in Flight. How did
correct.
that come together?
So that was very early on. I started 2004. I made my debut, but by 2005, I was wearing a mask just because of my high flying style. And there was another rookie wrestler. His name was Eclipse, and he had a mask as well. And they put us together as a tag team, and we just started collaborating with each other. And Brothers of Flight was the tag name. And yeah, we had great chemistry, and he's a good friend to this day. In this business, there's a lot of acquaintances, but not a lot of real friends. And he is a true friend, I would say, Eclipse. He wrestles as the Omen Gabriel Lestat now. he took off the mask, such as myself. He has a vampire character at the moment, actually, in Edmonton. But no,
Okay.
he was my first tag partner, and we worked great together. There's highlight reels of us too on YouTube. Maybe I'll send you some of that as well. But it
Okay.
was a blast. He's a gem of a human being.
What was your favorite moment of Brothers in Flight?
I'd say when they put the Monster Pro Wrestling tag team titles on us. It was the first time we ever won a championship, and it's just in front of a big crowd at the time. There's like 500 people. We had TV actually in Canada. It was like one of the last times wrestling had television in Canada. It's Monster Pro Wrestling. We were on Access Television all across Canada from 2006 to 2007. And just winning the tag titles on TV, it was a pretty cool moment with a good friend. You know, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. Another tag team that you've been a part of is yourself, Cody Mack, I believe,
Yeah,
as Gas City Grapplers.
that's right. It says Medicine
Okay.
Hat. We're both from Medicine. We're living in Medicine Hat. I'm born and raised. Cody's currently living here. Uh, Medicine Hat is called the Gas City because it's rich in oil and gas. So we call ourselves the Gas City Grapplers. And we've been a tag team for about a year now. And we've been doing pretty well. We're the Pure Power Wrestling Tag Team Champions in Lethbridge, Alberta. And
Okay.
it's been a good, fun time. I've been just trying to take Cody under my wing and help him out and help him get a little more experience.
Definitely. What would you say are some of your goals together as a tag team?
Just keep on dominating the scene. We need some new, fresh tag teams, some new, fresh blood to take on. We're itching for some challenges. Yeah, just want to have some more different tag teams to take on in Pure Power Wrestling.
Definitely. Recently Scott Demore opened Maple Leaf Pro up there. Is that
Yeah.
something as a Canadian wrestler that excites you, maybe to be able to get onto an MLP card?
Yes, I mean, it excites me just for the fact Canada has something like that now. Like I told you, we're kind of geographically castrated in a lot of ways, but that Maple Leaf Pro gives us some good exposure and gets to show the great talent that Canada really has. We have a rich history over the years of great talent, and it's no different today. And yes, 100%, I've been knocking on those doors, and God willing, I'll get an opportunity sooner rather than later. But yeah, I'm ecstatic and I'm rooting for him. I think it's a great thing for Canada and the scene here in general. It's very good.
It's come on the scene hot too. Scott Demore
Mhm.
was fresh off leaving TNA,
Yes.
and from the people I've been able to actually have here on the podcast telling me behind the scenes that it's one of the most like one of those things that they're trying to build up to be in competition with, the U.S., the United States scene, or Japan, or whatever. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
one of those that they
Yeah.
are striving to make it as good as possible. So I can only
Oh
imagine, it's definitely a card that you would want to be on.
yes, 100%. Yeah, I think a lot of us are got those set in our sights right now for sure. A lot of the talent here in Canada, and rightfully so. If we can get a fair look and a fair shot, and they can just cherry pick the best of the best. But there's a lot of talent here, myself included, that want to be a part of, get a piece of the pie, or at least get a look and an opportunity.
Yeah.
So
Because I mean, even just getting a match on a card like that gets you
yeah,
different eyes. You never know what
100%.
could come from that opportunity. So that
Yeah,
like
you
that's
know it.
something I've always found is unique about wrestling is like you can have one match or two matches on a show, and the next thing you know, the other place is scooping you up. Or
Yep,
so it's just a matter of, like you said earlier, right place, right time. So
those stars aligning.
um something fun I try to do here on the channel is early into my podcasting journey, I was told to be a journalist or a broadcaster and take the fan out of it. So
Right.
I chose to do the opposite. I just and full on embrace being a fan. Part of that is like going through your guys' careers, finding. I try to find five opponents slash guys you've worked with, and just ask you about that experience working with that talent.
Oh,
I
great.
just
Yeah,
kind of run down the list and see what happens. See what you have to tell
excellent.
us about these individuals.
Excellent.
Uh, First, I got on the list. I noticed on your social media that you got to grapple with Tom Billington. What was that like?
We got to work with each other 3 times, and each time it just got better and better. I knew he wasn't going to be here long. I just knew it just for his bloodline, his name, the talent. You still like Green, but like you just know being a Billington, he's a carbon copy to Dynamite Kid, for crying out loud. Move for move and his looks. So I just knew he wasn't going to be here long, and I was right. AEW scooped him up, and he's doing great, and I'm happy for him. But we ever get to lock up once again, it's going to be awesome. I promise you that. Not that it wasn't before, but it'll just be on a whole other level. Our first 2, we were just kind of feeling each other out. By that 3rd match, things were starting to cook really nicely. No, quick as grease lightning, man, just lightning quick, just like the original Dynamite Kid. It's like watching a time machine, to be honest. It's just one of those special things. He's going to be special. It's undeniable.
Definitely. Up next on the list, I put down El Generico.
Yes. I had his last independent wrestling match before he got signed to NXT.
Ooh, okay. What was it like working with him?
Awesome. Great guy. He's got a great mind for just putting things together and setting things up, and the psychology and everything else. We were in like a multi-man tag match.
Yep.
That was that last match. And no, he had a great mind for just putting everything where it needed to be. And you just trusted him out there. I remember there was like a moment where someone got injured. They dislocated their shoulder. So things had to change and get improvised. And so him and I had to do some improvisation on the fly and get back to where we had to be. And it was just a cool moment just getting to do that with him. And as I pinned him, I was like, thank you. He's like, you're welcome. He's a class act. He was super cool.
That's amazing. On the opposite end of El Generico in that match and on your team was Teddy Hart. What was it like working with Teddy?
Man, I've known Ted for a very long time. I've trained with him in his prime. Man, it's a shame just how everything has happened. It's a lot of it's life decisions and circumstance, but what a talent.
Yes.
What a charismatic individual. Like, there's a lot of guys that can do all the flips and the fancy spots, high spots, but Ted had a great look, a body, and charisma. Man, could he talk? Could he cut promos? And that's what set him apart, I think, from everybody else that can do all the high spotty type work. Is like Ted was just on another level of it factor. He has it factor. You just turn your head as soon as he enters a room. It's an intangible you just can't explain. But man, he's something else, man. And just training with him, just the things he would do, he was always safe, never hurt anybody with the wild, crazy stuff he would do. Just a hell of a talent. It's a shame, to be honest, that he never made more money and got a good fair shake. But that's life and a lot of decisions and everything that's happened. I won't get too much into that, but yeah. I personally like Ted, and I've always gotten along with Ted, and he's always given me respect and put me over, and it goes right back to him. He's a hell of a talent.
Just one more quick thing, I guess, with Teddy Hart before we move on is, I've always felt like with Teddy, he's one of those guys that, if you can look at just what he did in and around the ring, he might be one of the best, to ever step in a ring. But then the outside things just got in the way.
Yeah, the personal things. Yeah, I can't deny that, man. It's seriously, man, he had the total package with everything, like I just said, with just the innovation, the athleticism, the it factor, the charisma, the promo skills, the look, like everything just was there. So yeah, it is a shame, but I can't argue with you with what you just said. You nailed it there, buddy.
Up next, I have a legend, Ultimo Dragon.
Oh man, that was a dream come true. So I was wrestling in the UK for 7 months. I wrestled like 70 matches while I was out there, and I made my return to Canada, and that was like my return match, was getting to tag with Ultimo Dragon and then tag against him as well. And I mean, as a kid, as a teenager, as I started to study wrestling more and get more advanced with it, I started looking at Japan and Mexico and Europe, and I was infatuated with the original Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama, Hayabusa, Jushin Thunder Liger, Ultimo Dragon, and the Great Sasuke. I think those guys are some of the top junior heavyweight masked wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. And to get to work with one of them, Ultimo Dragon, It was just like a dream come true, man. And he was a class act too, man. He like bought me Subway and stuff. He was really kind, nice guy, great guy,
I've heard that a lot, that he's just one of the nicest individuals you'll ever meet. Just class act, as you said it. Um,
legend.
up next, last but not least, I got the Juice, Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah, Juice is awesome, man. Hoovie's the man. We hit it off really well. We actually a lot of these guys I work with, I get to text them and Instagram DM back and forth with them now. And Hoovie and I always send like just Christian religious stuff back and forth to each other, talking about God and funny clips too. But no, he's become a friend and a great talent. And to share the ring with him, he was just like a peak legendary cruiserweight during the WCW cruiserweight era there. And he was a pioneer for that time for the ratings and just the hot time in WCW. And he can still go, man. He's in great shape. He can still move fantastic. Great guy. Hoovie's awesome, man. Yeah, good stuff.
He was like, as a kid growing up in the early 2000s, like watching like all the old like WCW, ECW,
Yeah,
early WWE, like early, yeah, I guess it would be WWE. Stuff from Hoovie was just, I just absolutely loved what he did. Like in the
yeah,
ring, it was just crazy. Um, Something about him, Ray, Psychosis,
yeah,
super crazy, like guys like that, just
yeah,
they I loved it. Like
yeah.
everything they did, I was like, I want to do that. I don't think I can do that, but I'd love to do that. So like,
No, man, you're right. They're the top guys, man. I when I think of Lucha Libre, those guys come to mind instantly, like Psychosis, Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrero, Ultimo Dragon. Like I think it's gotten a little convoluted now. I still respect Lucha Libre, but I think the way they did it back in the 90s and early 2000s was like
it
peak
made
Lucha
sense.
Libre, in my opinion.
Yes, yes. And like you said, I think it has gotten a little messy,
Yeah,
convoluted, maybe.
yeah.
I feel like sometimes, and I mean this in the best way possible, like it's become a parody of itself.
Right. I wouldn't argue with that. I think you're on the right track. I think guys are trying to reinvent the wheel a little too much.
Yes. Instead
Yeah.
of just trying to find a way to be original. Like it's like
Yeah.
they want to copy and paste the old thing, which for the most part, you see they're selling out Arena Mexico still. So it's doing its purpose. But for an outside viewer, I feel like just a little bit more originality would go a long way.
Right. I agree, man. I think especially like when they bring because nowadays the North American style is very lucha influenced.
Yes.
And I just think like guys are just trying to reinvent the wheel too much and it's almost too convoluted, like a dance routine. But when you watch that stuff from the 90s with Ray and Psychosis, like it still looks competitive and it looks like a struggle and a fight. And then you just see some crazy stuff, something going on. So I think that the art is a little lost modern day, but it's, you just got to study old stuff. That's what it's all about. I love the old stuff. I'm a student of the game. I think
100%.
studying old footage is way more beneficial than watching anything new and recent, to be completely honest with you.
Okay. You brought up like watching the old stuff and like one thing like going back to like Psychosis and Ray, like one match that like always stood out to me was the in ECW, the Mexican Death Match they had.
Yeah.
Like I could
Hell yeah.
watch that all day long. And like
Wow.
it was one of those Lucha Libre style matchups that just it felt real. Like it felt like
Yeah.
these two guys, although they're doing these athletic and staying things, really wanted to hurt each other. So, and I think that's lost. Like you said earlier, it feels like too much of a dance now.
Yes, that is a lost art, man. It should be a struggle. It should look like a struggle. You're working together, but to the audience, it has to look like we're trying to win. We're trying to beat each other. We're trying to hurt each other, and that's what sucks people in into believing. It's no different than watching a movie. You actually a good movie, you'll believe in the good guy and hate the bad guy, and want to see the redemption and the revenge. And oh, that son of a gun, I want to see him get his. Oh, beat him up, hurt him. And it's the same with wrestling, except it's live, one take, live action theater. And that art has been lost a bit. I think we got to get back to more basics and fundamentals in a lot of ways.
Definitely. I understand. Like, and it's something, like a lot, me and my dad, my little brother, we do a live stream every Monday for Raw. And it's something we
Nice.
frequently talk about is like, I not to say I don't like AEW because I do watch AEW, but I
Right.
slide more towards the WWE side of things because it is just more fundamentally basic. Like you get
Yes.
your 1-2 punch, the comeback, if baby
Yep.
win, whatever. And in
Yep.
AEW, sometimes it's too much, like a dance, and they're too much parodying each other and making fun of each. So I feel like it gets lost, and
Yep.
like
I agree with you 100%. Yep.
it's
It's like a
something.
bouncy ball. You can't focus
Yes,
on what's going on. There's too much happening. And then, like you said, there's like tongue in cheek moments like this is all just fake and it's phony and it's ha ha ha. But like, that's not how you sell tickets. That's not how you get ratings. It's got to have that gritty realism to it. There's like
yes,
a fight. It's competitive sports is what we're trying to emulate here. And a
100%.
lot of guys forget that.
I feel like it's one of those things where like at first, like I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but like at first with
Oh,
AEW it was cool to be like the underground, like we're
yeah,
different, we're indie.
yeah,
But now 5 years later, it's like now I feel like we should have found our groove, and now
yeah.
we're going for the bigger audience rather than stay in PWG, if that makes sense.
No, dude, you're talking my language. I'm a big fan of Jim Cornette, actually. So listen to a lot of him. I think you can learn so much. He nails it on the head a lot of times with what's going on with the current scene. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It's like PWG with a budget, with $1 million budget. Um, but clearly with their ratings and their attendance, they're catering to that niche audience. And quite frankly, that audience will always be there. You don't have to cater to them. They're always going to be there because they're wrestling fans. They love this stuff. You want to cater to families and kids and closet wrestling fans that maybe fell out of it years ago and are kind of ashamed to like it now or forgot about it. I mean, there's just like a wider branch of like making money and selling tickets and this niche audience. And don't get me wrong, the fans, they're amazing. I'd be nothing without them. But there's so much more money to be made and so many more asses to put in seats. And that's what makes wrestling the best is when you got a full arena, loud energy, that energy you work off of. It's there's a lot to it than just catering to one little section of the audience.
100%. And like I think I'm just gonna use this as an example. Like I recently have got really into the Chicago indie scene. Like it was just crazy
Good,
because I live in Chicago, but I just really found it.
good,
And I go to Chicago style wrestling, and there is a portion of the audience, that hardcore audience that knows the storylines, heckles all the everybody that walks through the curtain.
right?
But at the same time, like the thing that really sticks out about Chicago style
No,
wrestling is
yeah,
how they are able to cater to that small portion of fan, but also adapt and work with the new audience that they're able to bring in, which
right.
if other companies could just figure out how to do that, the
Yeah,
success I think would just it blow up.
yeah, I agree 100%, man. It's about finding the right chemical balance and the right mixture of everything. Like it is. It's like a three-ring circus, man. You got like the trapeze flying over this way. You got the lion tamer over here. It's just about finding the right thing for everybody and making everyone happy. And but the biggest thing is just selling fights, the big fight atmosphere. It's extremely important.
Definitely. And it's the stories that go and
Yes,
the stories that build up that big fight. The why
yes,
I think is always the most important part. Is like
100%.
why am I watching this? Like why are these two guys fighting over whatever? Like what is
Yeah,
the point? And I think that's the thing I always try to pay attention to most is that why. And I
yeah,
think
100%.
wrestling overall would be a lot better if everywhere focused on the why rather than just these two guys are going to wrestle and I don't know why.
That brings me back to when I trained with Chi Chi Cruz. That was one of the biggest things he'd always be asking is like, when you're from the moment you walk through the curtain to going back through the curtain, when you're in the ring and everything you do, you're always asking why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? What is the reasoning behind this? And if you have a good answer to why, you're on the right track. As soon as you don't have a good answer to why this is happening or why this is happening, I've seen this cool move, so I want to do it. I thought it's cool. I want to copy it and try it myself. Then you're getting off track. It's why? Why is this happening? That's psychology. That's the whole basis and foundation of like the purpose behind everything. If you got a good answer to why, you're onto something. As soon as you fall off kilter, you don't got a good answer, then you're kind of off track, so to speak.
Definitely. I got three more questions for you.
Yeah.
Um, First, I'm gonna ask, so far, you've, I believe, 19, 20 years in the business. What's been your favorite match or moment if you had to pick one?
I think wrestling Chris Masters was really special because he was like a muscle bound WWE guy. He's a huge son of a gun. And I'm not the biggest guy in the fight. But to have a believable competitive match with good storytelling, psychology, that I could hang and go toe to toe with this guy using my speed and agility against this big powerhouse. And he's just a stereotypical, WWE larger than life superstar. It really gave me a feather in the cap and confidence that like I can hang with these guys. I can have believable stories and matches with these guys. That one always stands out to me and sticks out to me. I was always proud of that. And it just let me know that I can hang with these type of guys. So working with Chris Masters sticks out.
Okay.
Definitely. There's a lot of moments, man, just going through the memory banks, but that one's a big one. Um, I had like a crazy ladder match that was, I don't know why, it just stood out. Like, yeah, there's been some interesting ones, but that Chris Masters match takes the cake, I think.
Okay. I've had the pleasure to have Chris on here.
Nice.
Fantastic
Great
guy.
guy.
Definitely check
Yeah,
that one out. That's a good one.
I
Uh,
will. Yeah.
Up next, I got we are about halfway through 2025.
Mhm.
What are your goals for the rest of this calendar year?
Man, I'm really itching to get out of the country again. Either I go back to Europe or another international excursion somewhere.
Okay.
I don't want to be a big fish in a small pond. I always try to take out of province bookings opposed to in province bookings. Like I'm from Alberta, so I'll try and take bookings outside of Alberta because I just don't want to be, stuck working the same people all the time. I'm not knocking these people at all either. They're all talented guys, but like I want to get out and see new faces, new talent, new scenery, new promotions. I'm all about just getting out and about and traveling. It's all about the travel and getting out and about and getting out of your bubble. So that's one of the biggest ones. I'm booked to go out more west to British Columbia and then also out east. So I'm thankful. I got a busy schedule. It's always full, thankfully, but just getting out and about and not staying in one place for too long.
Okay.
But definitely leaving the country again. Want to leave the country, yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Last but not least, um, just because I do believe you are my first Canadian ever on the
Oh,
podcast,
awesome.
I
Sweet.
gotta ask, what is your Canadian Mount Rushmore?
Oh, boy. Okay. Bret Hart,
Of course.
Owen Hart, Chris Jericho. It's tough. I don't want to leave anyone out. Edge. Um, Brit. No, I can't do that. He's from Europe. I was gonna say the British Bulldog, but he, as much as he was in Canada, he's not Canadian. Um, who else can be in there? There's too many good ones, man. Uh, let me sit on that last one there. But those ones, I'm confident with those ones for Canadian talent.
Okay.
Uh, geez. Roddy Piper. He's technically Canadian.
I always forget that because, like, I'm pretty sure they bill him from Portland. So, like,
Yeah,
I
Portland,
always forget
Scotland.
he's
Yeah,
technically Canadian. Okay.
yeah.
I forget that. Thanks for reminding me because I knew that it was in here, but it clicked. Uh, man, I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out and making this work.
Oh,
I
thank
know we
you.
had some scheduling issues. Thank you for joining us. I leave the door open. So if you ever want to come back on, maybe do a little follow up.
Oh,
Even,
yeah.
something I've tried to do on here is pick a promotion and we run through your run there. Something like
Nice.
that. I'd love to do
Cool.
if you'd be down to come back on.
Oh, 100% I would, man. And I got to say, like, I've done a lot of podcasts, but I really flowed good with you. I can tell we have a lot of the same interests, just the way you were talking about the lucha libre and the ECW, and we're very like-minded, I can tell. So it's good. I felt like I really clicked with you well today. So thank you for that.
Of course, thank you. That's what I've tried to figure out. I don't want to say master yet because I'm not there, but try to figure out is how to make the conversation flow and to really find that connection. I think that's what to go off on another tangent, that's kind of what's missing in podcasting now these days is the connection.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
oh yeah, that's so important.
it's my bread and butter.
Yeah, amen to that. Well, you're doing a great job, brother. Thank you for the time. Thank you.
Of course, one more thing, just in case they missed it at the beginning of the show, would you like to go ahead and throw them plugs for your social medias, just in case
Absolutely.
they missed them?
You know it, buddy. 1, 2, 3, and the place to be talking right now is Cam Ikaze, the crazy motherfucker, the crazy mofo, the charismatic lightning rod. And you can catch me on Instagram, YouTube, and a Facebook fan page. And it's all the same, ladies and gentlemen. KAZE CMF, the number 4, life. Kazi CMF for life. Crazy mofo for life. Thank you for the time. God bless you and the fans. I'd be nothing without you guys. Woo!